friend, one of the most common questions we get at KN Literary Arts is, how do I know if my book is even done and ready for you guys? If it's ready for an editor? I don't know. That is what I'm going to address in this video. I'm going to tell you the 3 ways to know that your book is ready for an editor. My name is Kelly Notaras. I am the founder of KN Literary Arts. We are your one-stop shop, getting you from wherever you are to having that book of your dreams in your hand. So visit us at knliterary.com. I've also been in the book publishing industry for over 25 years. I know you can't believe it, but I bring all of that wisdom to you right here on this YouTube channel for free. So please hit the subscribe button and that little bell icon so you never miss a video. All right, I am so excited to talk to you about this today because as an editing company, we hear all the time from authors who are like, well, I've been working on my book for a really long time, but I am just not sure when it's done. How do I know when it's done? So I'm going to tell you today 3 ways that you know it's time to potentially reach out to a professional editor for help. So does that mean that the book is done? I mean, that's up to you, really. So I'm going to not frame it that way, but the first one will help you see what I'm talking about. So the very first way you know your book is ready for an editor is that you have actually written the entire manuscript. You have set it aside for at least a week or 2 and gone back and reread it start to finish, and you feel like this book is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. That is a sign it is time to take it to the next level, to get a more sophisticated look at it, to get someone to look at the big picture and the line by line who actually understands how books are put together and can give you the advice that will take your book from good to great. I hear from authors all the time, well, I have all these great pieces of advice that my beta readers have given me. Should I go ahead and put those into play, or should I just send these like kind of very drafty chapters to an editor? And I always say, get the book into the best shape you can get it into yourself without killing yourself with death by editing. Because death by editing is an actual thing where you just keep editing, and it either keeps you from actually finishing the book or it keeps you from ever sending the baby off to college. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth is, as you grow and change and your perspectives grow and change, your book may also find ways in which it could grow and change. I mean, I look at my book now and I'm like, wow, I could have done a whole different thing. I could have added a different chapter. I could have changed this part. And even in my case, like there might be industry, information that I'd want to change, etc. But that doesn't mean it wasn't done when I put it out a couple years ago. It was totally done, right? So you have to remember this is one moment in time, and your book may not be the exact book you would have written 5 years from now, but it's good enough for now. And until you ship it, to use Seth Godin's a wonderful writer who talks about creative work and marketing and things like that. He talks about shipping your work. Do not overdo it. Just ship it. Until you ship it, it's not actually been the creative expression that you've been trying to make it into all this time. So if you are reading the book and you feel like, gosh, I've gotten it as far as I can get it, then that's the time to bring in an editor who can even make it better, who can get to that deeper cut. You still will have work to do when they look through it and give you their feedback, but it's done for now. It's ready for someone else's eyes. Okay, so that is the first way you know, is that you have finished the manuscript, you have reread it, you do feel like it's in pretty good shape, and you're ready to get someone else's take on it. The second time when you know it's time to work with an editor is that you have written an entire manuscript and you've tried to update it, or maybe you've given it out to too many people and you've got too many competing ideas of what needs to change with it, and you are ready for a professional to be the tiebreaker or to help you get unstuck from wherever you're stuck. That is a fabulous place to be. You have gotten it as far as you know how to get it, even though you know it's not quite good enough. That's when you bring in an editor who can help you see things that are invisible to you, but will be seen by your readers. And also, again, if you've sent it out to too many people and you have too many cooks in the kitchen, it's a nice idea to just scrap all of their advice and go to a professional and see if the professional echoes any of the suggestions they made. And if so, fabulous. And if not, you can forget about them and leave them on the cutting room floor. Now, of course, no 2 editors would edit a book alike. It is a work of art. It is not a science. So you will ultimately be the person who decides in the end which edits you're going to take and which you're not. But if you're at a place where you're stuck and you just can't take it to the next level, you don't have it in you to do another revision without somebody else's, eyes on it, then send it to a professional editor and you will get great advice that you can decide whether or not you want to implement. And the third way you know you are ready to work with an editor is if you have not been able to finish a full manuscript. Because a lot of times we find that people will get stuck partway through, whether it's, after a couple chapters or just before the ending and they don't know what the ending needs to be, or they just are at a place where they're not sure if it should even be the book that they thought it was, and should it turn from a memoir into fiction, or should it turn from a how-to guide into a teaching memoir, and they just need some help. That's where an editor can give you an editorial assessment. They're not going to get into the weeds on the book, because if you're not finished with it, they probably are going to have to redo that same work later, right? But they can help you see what's working in the big picture and what they would suggest you consider working on to get yourself unstuck. They can help give you a step-by-step list of things that they would suggest you do, so you're not sitting down every day in front of this partial manuscript going, oh my gosh, why can't I finish this book? I don't know what to do next. Because they will tell you, do this, then do this, then do this. So having that kind of advice can be the most important factor in getting unstuck, getting back to your writing desk, and actually finishing the book. So that is a great time to work with an editor. So there you have it, 3 fabulous times to work with an editor on your journey to getting your book in the world. Again, I didn't answer the question of how do I know when it's done, because honestly, it's really up to you. But getting an editor to contribute to that conversation can be the best way to know. They will probably tell you it's not quite done yet. Here's some other things you can do. And you again get to decide whether you do them or not. But either way, it keeps the process moving forward. I will tell you that the number one difference between people who finish a book that they want to write and people who don't finish the book they want to write is that the ones who finished just kept going. When it was hard, they kept going. When things were going imperfectly, they kept going. When they weren't sure where they were going, they got some help and then they kept going. So just make sure you are taking steps every day, every week, every month toward getting that book out in the world. You're not going to finish it tomorrow, and that's okay. But if you just keep going and getting the right next step each step of the way, you can make the entire journey one step at a time. And I hope you do. All right. If we can help you in any way, obviously we have editors at the ready who would love to help you in any of these 3 scenarios and in any other scenario. We are here for you. You can reach out to us at knliterary.com. And in the meantime, happy writing.